Hi, I am Kayla Eldridge. I'm back again to share a case study entitled A New Role for the Parents Organization. In the case study, there are multiple parties involved. The first is the principal of the school, who has concerns about the newly formed parents organization at his school. The second is the new parents organization, including the president, who is also a lawyer, and the members of the newly formed committees. Also involved would be the Board of Education, the superintendent, and other staff of the school. The students of the school will be affected by the decision made. The principal has relied on this support from the parents group in the past to plan the annual parents and staff picnic, the parent-teacher conference, and also promoting the school bond referendum. He would like a parent organization who supports the school programs but does not actively make decisions or develop instructional or curricular policies. The new parent organization has decided to part ways with the traditional PTA organization and is now an independent organization. They have elected officers last spring and would like to move forward with a new format for back-to-school nights, as well as more involvement in the decision and policy making process. They believe parents have a stake and have something to contribute and want to be equal partners with the school. They know the board sets the policies, but would like to be more involved in that process. The group has already set up committees to work on discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and total school evaluation, and would like to observe conditions, collect data from students, parents, and teachers, as well as issue policy statements on the need for change. All of this work has been done without any input from the school. The principal has met in his office with the parents' organization and needs to decide how to proceed with the new ideas. He would prefer they stay in the role in which they have existed and have them continue as they were in the past. There is already a system in place for policies and curriculum development, and he knows that these new ideas will upset the current program in place. From my perspective as the principal, there are a few issues regarding legal and ethical. The new parent group has set up the potential for legal repercussions with their idea for the new back-to-school night. That would violate the current contract, and the dates would already be set via the district calendar committee that has been approved by the teachers and also by the board. Asking the teachers to work outside of their contract hours could be a legal issue, as could changing dates on an already established calendar. Having a committee work on discipline could also cause legal repercussions, as each student has different disciplinary needs and the committee would not have access to this information due to FERPA and HIPAA. If they did have the information, it would be a FERPA or a HIPAA violation. Having this parent organization involved in teacher performance evaluation could also be a legal issue, since the evaluations are also covered under the bargain contract. Ethically, the parent group the parent group met without anyone from the school to help be their partner. The partnership should include parents and the school, not just the parents. There are a small representation of the parents of the school and may not know what's best for every student in the school. By disengaging with the National Parent Organization, they've also set themselves up for compliance issues with the group handling donations and spending of that money. They may not have the bylaws or the policy set in place since they're now on their own. Here is the issue at hand as I see it. The new parents organization at the school has organized and made committees for the purpose of issuing policy statements on discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and school evaluation without the input of external or internal stakeholders. When reviewing the case, I found that there are things that are missing that I would like to know more about. For the people, the parent organizations typically have collaboration with teachers, and they're an obvious missing piece. Having an educator on the team would have given the new organization a heads up as to what processes are already in place, or they could have given me as the principal a heads up as to what was occurring. I would also want to talk to past leadership of the organization. I want to know what is it that perhaps spurred these changes that the parent group is seeking to change. These are people I already have a relationship with, and they could be a liaison between myself and the new parent organization. I'd like to be in contact with those who have volunteered as committee members as well. These are people who want to serve our school, and they could make great partners in the future and might also be able to give me some insight into what parents are truly looking for in a parent group. The missing data on place would be that I don't know the demographics of the school where this is taking place. If it's a school like mine in Derby, the people who volunteer there tend to be the financially well-off people, and this is an issue since it limits the representation of the students on that committee. Finally, the missing program pieces I would like to have would be the copies of the current policies the district has pertaining to those parent organizations. That would give me a better understanding of what the norm is for the district and how other schools treat with or interact with their parent organization. And I would also like to have a copy of the teacher contract so I would know what the changes to the parent night could affect, as well as how the committees could affect teacher evaluations. My priorities. My very first priority is to make sure that there's open lines of communication and that they need to be two-way communication. I would then need to educate the new parents organization as to what structures and policies we already have in place in the district. I would reiterate that I want parent involvement in our school, and I've always had that in the past, but that there's some things that are not in their control based on the structure we have in place. I would also want to find out what is behind those changes and why they're thinking that they're needed. These people are willing to volunteer their time to better the school, so I need to know what is driving those changes that they're wanting to make. I would also like to remind the new parents organization that I've always worked with these groups in the past, and I do not want that to change. I'd like to know why the meetings were done in secrecy without anyone in the school being involved. And this can serve as a reminder that some of the changes they want have taken in consideration could have happened easier if we had done this in a little bit different way from the beginning. And that we can take those ideas for consideration, but that we need to follow what our current policies and procedures are that are already in place. If they are truly wanting to change policy, then probably their best bet is going to be to run for a Board of Education seat. So there's a few options that we could do. We could do nothing. That would hurt the school. It'd shut down the organization, which would hurt the relationship between the parents and the school. So this is the plan that I have going forward. First, I would call a meeting to meet with the parent organization. I would want all of the members of the group and past members at the meeting so that I could hear responses from multiple members and not just the leader of the group. I would also want the teachers who have been involved in the parent group at the meeting. I would prepare for the meeting by making sure that I have any documents that I would need, including the board policies, the teacher contract. I'd talk to other principals to see how they've handled anything like this in the past. And then I would hold the meeting. For that meeting, my idea for it would be to have it in the cafetorium. That would allow us to meet the number of people that would be necessary for that meeting. I would review the problem as I see it. The new parents group organization at the school has organized and made committees for the purpose of issuing policy statements on discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and school evaluation without the input of any internal stakeholders. I would reiterate that for the group to be successful, we need to work together moving forward. Next, I would ask them for solutions as to how they want to move forward in working with the school as a parent organization. This will hopefully get to the root of what they are actually trying to accomplish and give me some guidance on how to get to their intended goal. Finally, we would choose a solution moving forward that would, 1, promote the current and future successes and well-being of each student and adult. 2, collaboratively engage diverse families in strengthening student learning in and out of schools. 3, collaboratively engage and cultivate relationships with diverse community members, partners, and other constituencies for the benefit of school improvement and student development. And 4, communicate through oral, written, and digital means within the larger organization, community, and political context when advocating for the needs of the school and committee. After the meeting has concluded, I would reflect on what has happened to determine if the plan moving forward solved the problem and if any new problems were created in the process. I would also want to continue being involved with the parents group to avoid these problems in the future. So in evaluating my plan, I've been able to come up with some pros and cons for it. Some of the pros would be that this would establish two-way communication with the parents' organization. We would no longer be looking at contract violations. We would be ensuring that students are not left behind, and that we would move forward with the future relationship intact. The con that I could find with it is that other problems could arise during that brainstorming session that we would be having. So kind of looking at the problem-solving loop here, I was able to identify the problem. The new parents organization at the school has organized and made committees for the purpose of issuing policy statements on discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and school evaluation without the input of internal stakeholders. Then I explored that missing data for people, places, programs, and what my priorities would be. Then I chose a plan that I thought would be best. I took into consideration multiple ideas. I did reject those other ideas pretty quickly as I want to maintain that relationship with the parents organization. I also evaluated the plan the best I can up to this point, and now just need to hold the meeting and move forward, knowing that I may need to revisit the problems in the future and try again. So time to carry out that plan. We're going to have that meeting, and I will be prepared for the meeting with all of my documents that I need. I'm going to thank them for their service and what they've done for us as a group, and then also make sure that they understand what the problem is as I see it. Get those brainstorming solutions out there, and find out what's going to be best for the school. As the school principal, it's my job to ensure that the solution chosen will work for all of our students and not just a select few. There might be some people who aren't happy about the outcome of this meeting, but they need to understand that we do have policies and procedures in place for a reason, and my job requires me to ensure we are following them. It may not be for the good of one individual person, but it is what's best for the school as a whole. I would also have a plan B in place, which would be to bring in a board member or the superintendent so that we can ensure that we are following what needs to be done. In conclusion, I feel like I have come up with a viable solution for our problem. I was able to engage with the community and advocating for the needs of the school by letting that parent group know that their new way would not work within our current policies. This case was relevant because we're going to have parent groups at any of the schools that we're at, and I need to be able to communicate with them and be able to problem solve with them so that we can continue to have that relationship. Things that will make me be a better leader: I will be able to use the model for problem solving to ensure that I get all of the facts and think through the consequences of my actions. The parent organization has good intentions, but needs to be operating within the confines of their role. I also have the ability to reflect upon my work and see how I need to improve.